Minutes with McNabb.
How you doing? This is Sean McNabb from Minutes with McNabb. My guest this week, Taime Downe from Faster Pussycat. We're going to be talking about all things rock and roll, the band, the Cat House, the Sunset Strip in the 80s. Check out my guest, Taime Downe.
Minutes with McNabb.
How you doing? This is Sean McNabb from Minutes with McNabb. Our third episode. I got my bro here today, Taime Downe from Faster Pussycat. Welcome, Tamie.
What's up, amigo? Good to be here, brother.
Man, thanks for doing this for me, brother. Looks like you're chilling there in your studio.
Kicking it. Little place where make shit happen.
Looks like that's where the Faster Pussycat magic starts from an idea and it just turns into gems.
It's been the room that a lot of shit's happened. Not necessarily all good, but a lot of stuff happened here. I've been in the same place for 20 plus years, so we had all the glory hole and a lot of newly dead stuff as well, too. So
Yeah, man, I've been over there. You got a cool crib, and it's just a great vibe over there. Looks like you got guitars and basses in there. I'm assuming you play everything besides sing and
I
write
do.
and all that.
Yeah, I play everything. Not well, but I do. But I do play a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But it's fun. Yeah, I wanted.
Man,
That's why I started as a guitar player, and I just couldn't find a singer, so that's why I just started singing. So, but I always loved playing guitar.
you got such a great body of work, brother, over the years, and we're going to get to all that. But I kind of want to, take it back to you growing up in Seattle. What got you into music? What influenced you? What bands? And fill us in.
I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and it all goes back to when I was this little kid. My dad was a guitar player, so in a band. So I grew up with my fourth Christmas. I got a drum set and a guitar. So I grew up with that. Going to my dad's rehearsals when I was little. I remember my stepmom making me little outfits that matched my dad's, because that was like late 60s, early 70s. That's when that satin and all that crazy shit and platforms and stuff was going. So my stepmom would make me little matching outfits to match my dad's, go to his gigs when I was little. But yeah, I grew up. I remember going to the rehearsals and all the time, and then hearing on the radio, and I hear "Good Times, Bad Times" by Zeppelin. I thought it was my dad's song because I just was down in the basement at the rehearsals, and there's my dad. And my mom's like, "Nope, that's Led Zeppelin."
Rad. So bands like Zeppelin and who else?
Aerosmith, Kiss, Cheap Trick, all that stuff. I remember going to the Clash when I was in junior high. So I was like, I just like stuff that was, crazy. Alice Cooper, just
Right.
all the stuff that I don't know. It's just so much good rock and roll growing up. Then Kiss, yeah, all that Ted Nugent and
Oh, totally.
just
Dude.
different stuff. You just think of stuff. You're just like, oh yeah, I forgot about them. And it's like Joan Jett and yeah, grew up on a lot of that stuff. It was good time rock and roll. Zeppelin, of course, for sure back then.
And you hit it on the head. I mean, it was good time rock and roll. It just, we come from an era, and I think we were really lucky, you and I, to get to make vinyl. A lot of people can't say that and call us old, but to hold a vinyl record that you're actually on, and that's something really special. And I think younger musicians, they never got to do that. So I think we're real
God,
lucky that we got.
I know. I remember just going and getting a new record, and you got the new AC/DC record. Back in Black came out. It's like you got it on vinyl. You got or the Kisses. You can always pull it out. And there's always some fun stuff inside of it. You know what I mean? And then, but then there's that shit. I left my Kiss record on the turntable. Went to school. Next day, you come home and it's like a pizza because it's sitting in the window. It's all warped, and you just there's no fixing it. And it's just a. I remember those days.
I remember.
Kids don't have that these days, so it's like we're like our folks. We're like, that didn't happen when I was a kid. That's where we're at. Totally.
I love that commercial campaign that's going on right now. It's like when you've become your parents or something. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty fun. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. When you get to be 56, you are your parents, no matter what. No matter how hard you try to be cool and do your shit, you're still your parents. I'm older than what I remember my parents being old at. When I remember my mom turning 35, just going, "Dang!"
Right? So, yeah. Well, dude, you still are the coolest, and I'm about your age, so I totally get it. And so, run it down. What made you come to Los Angeles? I mean, obviously it was the music, but elaborate on that story and what got you to LA. And
just wanted to be a rock and roller. I just was like, got to go to LA. And then my mom moved down to San Diego, so that was close because I remember going to Disneyland and shit when I was a kid, and just palm trees and at the time too, it was like in Seattle, I was in a band. I was in a band called the Bondage Boys, and we were playing like Lake Hills in Seattle. And then I was like, you got to go to LA though, like Motley Crue and Rat. Those are like the new bands, So it's like, get down to San Diego. My mom moved there, and that was close, so I can get out. And that's what I did. I moved to San Diego, lived there for about a little over a year. Met a lot of really cool people down there too, and then just kept coming up to LA just to check it out because you're starstruck too when you're a kid. Just seeing Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Strip and running into famous people when you're young is
right.
It's really exciting. You moved, you're a Midwest boy, so you came out here. You know that feeling of wow, everything. It's Southern California. It's like sunny out, palm trees, and hot chicks, and it's just cool. I couldn't even get in a bar then. I wasn't old enough, but I snuck in, so it was cool. But that was close. We come up to LA on like bus trips. It'd be like a rock bus that would come up, and you just party all the way up. And then one time I came up for a weekend. And it was a Metallica, Armored Saint, and Adam Bomb show. And I was friends with Adam Bomb because he was from Seattle. Show at the Palladium. We pulled a scam where we went up to the list and we just looked for a number that had a big number and be like, just say you were that name. And I remember scamming like eight to 10 tickets. I can't remember, but I know. And I kept one pass, and we sold the rest because it was sold out, and I've been in LA ever since. So I ended up staying and I've been in Los Angeles ever since. So, thank you, Metallica and Armored Saint.
Right. We all have that story. Like, man, I drove out here in a Nissan Stanza with $200 in my pocket, an amp and a bass in the back, a couple changes of clothes and a dream, man. And, did that.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. I did the couch thing, but staying with chicks.
You did the Hollywood couch tour?
And friends. Oh, yeah. Did that for a while.
You come out in about, 1980 or something, 79? When did you come out to LA?
No, I didn't come out to 85.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I moved to San Diego in '84 and up here in '85. Yeah, or
Nice.
yeah, it was '84. Yeah, moved up here in
Yeah, we
'85 in Los Angeles.
we got this in common. We were both managed by the same guy, Warren Etner.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
when I first got
I loved
Quiet Riot,
Warren.
I did too. Faster
Yeah,
Pussycat, he had you guys and Quiet Riot. He had Black and Blue.
L7.
Oh, he had L7. That's
Faith,
right.
Rage Against the Machine.
But yeah, Faith No More. He
Rage.
had right.
Faith No More. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me
A
about
good
the
roster.
early days, and tell me about first of all how you came up with the name Faster Pussycat. I think it was a movie. I'm pretty sure, but let me hear it from your side and tell me about getting a record deal and all that stuff.
Yeah, I actually started the band with Mick Cripps from LA Guns. Me and Mick started when he moved back from England. He was living in London, and we were putting it together. And then I already been friends with Tracy Guns and hung out with Tracy. He was a really good friend of mine as well. So, but then Mick mentioned LA Guns and all this stuff, and I was like, I really was like Faster Pussycat. I thought that name was the coolest name, and then I got into the Russ Meyer shit, and I was like, yeah, that was awesome. So it's like I just kind of stuck with that, and just because in the meantime I was finding people. I had met Mark Earl drummer, and he's like, you got to meet my buddy Brent, and so I met Brent, and I had met Greg working at Retail Slut down on Melrose.
Right, I remember that.
So that was fun. That was a good place to pimp your shit because it was right there in there's Flash Feet, Let It Rock, Retail Slut, Jet Rag, and I had
Yep.
friends. We all were friends that worked at all the stores. So we give everybody get their discounts, but then you built up a camaraderie and stuff with your buds and stuff, and we'd all go to. That's what helped that whole scene back then too. Us and Guns N' Roses and LA Guns, and Jet Boy and Motorcycle Boy and all that period of time was all. And there's that big shopping scene down on Melrose. That's where we hung out and got new clothes and stuff. And we were all out at the Rainbow and different bars at night. But that was where we like just flyered, come see our first gigs, and give everybody flyers in their shopping bags right there when you work on the store. So then every weekend you're up there up of the Sunset in front of the Rainbow and the Roxy and Whiskey. That whole street would look like it was just papered with confetti, but giant pieces of confetti because everybody's flyers were different colors: blue, pink, white, whatever. They weren't just little flyers; they were full page flyers. So
I remember that.
Was crazy, but yeah.
And
I just remember
what you said. I love what you said about camaraderie, because that's that was really going on back then in the '80s between the bands. There was healthy competition, but I felt like everybody had each other's backs. And like you said, we would hang out a lot together, and it was kind of like a family deal. It felt that way to me.
Yeah,
And,
it was. Yeah, it was like you didn't have internet. You know what I mean? There wasn't internet. It was like your social media was being out. You're out. You're out on the street being social, not sitting behind a computer. You know what I mean? It was like, and you're young. We were all young. We were all pups then, so it was cool. But
and
that was a fun time. That was a fun time to be in Los Angeles and being young and stuff. That was fucking crazy. Just all the shit, doing the first gigs and all that. Our first show was at the Central, which ended up turning into the Viper Room.
Right.
And I remember fucking, it was $1 to get. I remember just promoting the shit out of it at Retail Slut and going out to clubs and doing that. And I remember Axel being in the right. It was packed too. It was like the whole floor was just packed. I just remember Axel being in the front, doing his Axel dance. Because I was good friends with Izzy. Izzy
Right.
was like one of my best friends back then. Izzy was my first friend I met in LA when I came up on one of those trips. So and we were friends. Yeah, that's why Izzy was always coming up on stage when we did shows in LA. You know, like our first show was there. Yeah, our first show and our second shows will open the reopening of the Whiskey with Guns N' Roses. They got us there. And our third show was the show with Poison and Cherry Bombs. Andy McCoy from Hanoi Rocks' band. Those were our first shows. So that was our start. And then we just start, and we were instantly starting to pack the shit. That's why we got a record deal after like 10 months. So it's because all of our gigs were packed. And
you guys were on Elektra? Is that what that was?
We got signed with Elektra, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was killer because we were like Motley Crue and DACA, and they were like fucking it was the Doors and shit. It was like this. It was cool. It was like just even this thing because it was Motley. We're Motley label mates. You know what I mean?
That's
cool.
It
was some fun. We're just kids too. I was 22.
I remember. You know, I also always admired. You kind of created this stage persona vibe that I'd always just thought was so cool. And how'd you kind of come up with that, or what influenced that? You know, I just always thought it was cool.
Oh, thank you, brother. I just fucking did what I did. I mean, there's always cool people that I looked up to and admired and was like, I want to be as good as that person. I was never a singer, so I was like, I always tried to at least be cool because I was like I said before, I played guitar and I couldn't find a fucking singer, so I'll just fake it. I'll fake it. I'll get through it. I'll just get it to sound in key and just do what I could. I mean, people like Alice Cooper and Steven Tyler and just Hanoi Rocks and even Motley Crue, just stuff. It's all shit that I grew up with Zeppelin, but it's like all these other singers that were singers like, fuck, I love AC/DC, and I loved even Judas Priest. Rob Halper's voice is just so fucking cool, and just like I was like, fuck, these guys can sing so good. I just want to be able to sound cool. I figured the Coops kind of got that, where he's not like a virtuoso singer. He just sounds cool when he does his shit. But I always loved Robin Zander. It's just every time I hear myself, I'd be like, turn that shit down. But I always try to sound cool as much as possible. But I always created most of the writing. So I did most of the fucking writing for our shit too as well. So guitar wise,
you created you created your own thing, and I always thought that was cool. I always admired that, and not only the look but your sound. Nobody else really sounded like Faster Pussycat and like you, and like you said, you wrote some great songs, man. I mean, you guys had a lot of great videos on MTV, and I just remember the amount of play you guys got. You really made an impact with those videos, and when we had video budgets. And tell me a little bit. We did get to do some fucking cool videos. Like right from the get go, we did fucking. Our first video was Russ Meyer. I don't know. If you don't know who Russ Meyer is, most kids don't or whatever, but Google it. He made some really cool movies, B movies with girls with very big thingamajigs. So it was like, you can say tits.
Cool. Titties and bazungas, but yeah, no, he and we got he directed our first video, and then we got to meet him. It was like he made a 3-minute movie, 3.5-minute movie for us, personal. So I always cherish that till the day I die. That's pretty cool. And then the guys that did the next video, Fisher and Preachman, they did our bathroom wall video in New York. They ended up doing the GNR, Sweet Child of Mine, too. So that's why you'll see similar stuff on that, but theirs is like so huge. And then we had Rocky Shank. Well, no, yeah. Then we had what came next? We had Jeff Stein do Poison Ivy. That was pretty cool. That video we did on a soundstage, and I had some black Capezio shoes on. I wore holes through them in the first day. I couldn't walk the next day at all. I couldn't step down. I had to walk on my heels. I had to take a day off. Couldn't go anywhere. I wore holes completely through those shoes because they were painted. Because the floor was painted with like our symbols from Wake Me When It's Over, and I had black Capezios painted with the little Egyptian eye and some stuff on them too, like in gray. So they look cool, but yeah, I wore holes completely through the bottom. No shitting. But we had.
If you don't know what Capezios are, a lot of people might not know they were these like. I think they're actually dancers' shoes.
No, they are. They're dance. You get them at like ballet fucking shops and whatnot. They were like, because David E. Roth wore them, but they were also like when you wore them, they were so comfortable, like wearing slippers.
They were,
and they were leather, and I had black ones that just looked like fucking just black shoes, but they're fucking thin and comfy. But yeah, I wore right through them. Yeah, I heard about them from like Van Halen. I think that was the first one. Roth one about how they're like slippers. So I was like, I gotta try these. I was like, ooh, those are comfy. Until you wear them on a fucking sound step for fucking 12 hours and wear holes through them. So,
so listen, man, you guys got to deal with Elektra, and then you had some really great tours with like Kiss, Motley Crue, and give us some of the highlights of those tours because I know it was all on, brother, and you had to be having some fun.
It was really cool. I mean, our first tour that we did was with Y&T and Ace Frehley, so that was cool because I grew up listening to Y&T too in Seattle. My old band, the Bondage Boys, too. The drummer Ron was a huge Y&T fan, and the drumming. I'm brain farting on fucking
Leonard Hayes.
Leonard Hayes, yeah, he's just a monster. So that was like. I got turned onto him then before I even moved to LA. And then when I heard we were doing Y&T, I was like, that's awesome. So we did that. And then we did Cooper, which is shit. It was fucking Alice Cooper. He's my hero. Yeah, so that was my start. Then we fucking did Roth. So it was like boom, boom. Elektra kept us on the road, which is great. They kept us out on the road. And then that was on our first album. The next album was Cooper again, and Motley Crue, and Whitesnake, and Ozzy. Oh no, Ozzy was the third record. But yeah, we got to do some fucking great tours. We did Kiss 2 different tours on the second and third record. So,
when you said Roth, was that the Eat 'Em and Smile era?
That was Skyscraper tour. That was in '87.
Okay.
Yeah, that was right after Eat 'Em and Smile. That was like Skyscraper with Vi and Sheehan and
Billy
fucking.
Right. That's cool.
But that was fun, yeah. Just touring. That was just we were out on the road. I remember being on like our first tour bus ever. Fucking we flew to Corpus Christi, and we're getting our first tour bus, and Slows was there. And he's like, okay, we all went down from the hotel. We saw Slows at the hotel. He goes, you got to come with me. We're going to go get some oyster po' boys. So he took us down to this little spot down by the water, and we got first oyster po' boy. Never even heard of a po' boy before. I'm from Seattle.
Right.
They're just called submarine sandwiches or whatever. I don't know. But then,
I got to give Lowe's some props because our Neil's Lowe's hour, if you don't know, this guy's like the pinnacle of rock photographer, just the coolest fucking guy ever. We did all the bands did
awesome
shoots with him, and he was that photographer that was like come on, fucker, give me some attitude here. Girls are gonna be wanting you in freaking Iowa and stuff like that.
Uh,
He just gets you
he's the
going.
best. Yeah, I still
Yeah,
talk to Zosey all the time because I live.
yeah,
His shop's right down the street from me, from where I live,
right.
right over there on Yucca in
Yeah,
Hollywood. So,
and
but yeah, he was
of
there
course
and we rolled. Go ahead.
he took all these iconic pictures of Van Halen and the crew, and like a lot of the stuff you see, Lowe's took those shots, and he's
Oh
just
yeah,
that
he's
iconic
Mr.
dude.
80s. He's
Also,
Mr.
he was in the
80s
movie
rock.
Rockstar, and people know him from that.
Yeah,
Just being himself.
he's a yep, just being slows. So it's like
Has he still got that studio?
yeah, yep. He's still down the street. I go by it like fucking
Yeah.
every other day because it's my neighborhood. So it's like yeah. So we went from the Po' Boys up to the bus, got our first bus. Then it was like there, and then fucking 2 days later, we all had crabs. Apparently that was Poison's bus right before we got it, and
Right.
that bus company didn't really do that good of a job cleaning it because we're all like, Bob, heading to the drugstore, get some A200.
Quill.
Get rid. Yeah, this was the A200. This is the shit that's better than Quell because it was like fucking shampoo. You wash it, and you're fucking gone instantly. So it's like without having to fucking shave your shit. But yeah, I think Rocket and fucking Brett a few times for those fucking early critters. So
Hey, I was on a Poison tour, and I know that's a machine, man. That is a machine that has a lot of fun, and we'll leave it at that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, me and
Let me
Ricky
ask you,
when before I started Faster too. Me and Ricky were really fucking. I mean, we're still close friends, but he was one of my best friends too, Ricky Rocket. So.
and I'm going to ask you another question about the Cat House in a second. But do you remember this? Your first tour bus, and everybody does it. It's like you wake up in the middle of the night, and bam, you wake up and bang your head because the bunks are.
Yeah, and they try to put those stupid video fucking like not video but monitors in there that fucking never worked.
Yeah, they never worked.
Never
But
worked. You'd be like you get one channel that's got that TV channel in your house, it's UHF channel or whatever. That's like shh. Yeah, nothing ever worked. Killer, we got videos in our bunk. No way. Nothing worked ever.
I just remember like the first week, you'd wake up in the middle of the night, bang, you'd forget where you were, and you bang your
climb
head.
out, you fucking roll over, and fucking you realize you're on the top bunk, and you're just like,
oh god,
you just hear this thunk. It's like, what was that? Yeah,
it was all rock and roll, man.
You're
happy to be there, and you learn quick. And let me ask you about this. So you guys started the Cat House, which I am so grateful because I would have never gotten in Quiet Riot if it wasn't for the Cat House. But tell me about the Cat House, and I know you and Ricky started it, but let's hear about that.
Yeah, we needed a place to have a party without having to clean it up. That's where it all started. Ricky was doing a club called Ice that was kind of like a valley disco. It was killer because it was like they played more disco music, but the girls were hot, so it was like I was like cool. And then we just kept talking about doing a rock club. He's like, I DJ Tommy Lee's wedding and stuff, and he's like, I got to end with some of the rock shit, and we just became fucking best friends. And then we became roommates, and then we just started putting it together. The first few weeks of the Cat House were a little rough, but we had cool people there. Like there was Crispin Glover and Virginia Madsen. I mean, there's tons of different people that were there at the early times, but it's just kind of a blur. Angeline, a lot of actor friends and stuff too. So, but it took us about the third week, then it just took off. And this was when it was at Osco's too. We had which was down by the Beverly Center. It was the
Uh-huh.
second cat house, but we kept it there until it was just falling. The old building was falling apart. That's where they did like Thank God It's Friday and Star 80. And I
Right.
remember Steven Tyler being there dancing on the dance floor by himself. Gene Loves Jezebel, and just it was just so much fun. The cat house was just, even when it moved over to the Probe where it was more stable, where it got even bigger. You know what I mean? So it was just
Yeah.
it was just a fun. You were that, like I said,
I
you
was
got to
there,
see it.
man. It was a special
There's no
time.
really. It's hard to describe it. It was just packed, and tons of good women and tons of cool dudes that were just like, because the hot chicks were there. It was just packed, and just we had bands play that it wasn't a live venue, but it's just a dance club. It would just be
I
packed, but
remember.
then we'd have special events where we'd have unannounced bands play. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
be it
I remember that.
GNR, the Black Crows, or just different
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was like you kind of never knew, and all of a sudden, wow, there's GNR or whatever, it was cool like that.
Exactly.
You never knew who you were going to see there, and I'm serious. I would have not gotten the Quiet Riot gig had it not been for the Cat House. Do you remember Betsy Browning or Tina
Of
Souza?
course. I remember
Okay,
Tina.
so Tina
I
took
remember
me.
I remember
She took
Betsy
me to
too.
the
She had a
Cat
little
House,
tanning
man.
salon.
Betsy Browning,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
We go back a long way. So she takes
We'd
me. I'm
swap
in
out.
town 2 weeks.
We swap out cat house admission and shit for free tans.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm in
So
town 2 weeks. Uh huh.
Tina's taken. You go ahead.
I'm in town 2 weeks, right? And Tina Souza goes, "Hey, I'm going to take you to this place called the Cat House. There's a lot of musicians that hang out there and stuff." And I'm like, "Great." I was already making the rounds with Rainbow and things like that, and just trying to meet
Mm-hmm.
people. And she she takes me there, and I meet Frankie Benelli. She introduces me to Frankie Benelli. God rest his soul. We lost him this last
Yeah.
year. And Frankie gave me
No,
my
it's
start in the
sad.
business, man. He gave me my start in the business. If it wasn't for Frankie Benelli, I would have never gotten my first gig, which, led to a career and stuff. But he gave me that opportunity. He goes, "Hey, come over to this address tomorrow. We're looking for a bass player." And I came over the next day and cut a couple tracks with him. And he goes, "You got the gig, man. You're in Quiet Riot." So I'm driving over Laurel Canyon in my little Nissan Stanza, screaming out the window,
Woo!
"I fucking got the gig! In Quiet Riot." It was just the dream. It was everything I'd ever dreamed
Yeah.
about. Knew nothing
That's
about the business, knew nothing. And
that's
so
awesome.
I got you to thank for that, man. If it wasn't for the Cat House, I may have never met Frankie at the right time and the right place. And so thank you, bro.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Thank Ricky too. Ricky's the one that
Oh
fucking.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was a. I just kind of like. I was the rock
Ricky
guy. I
Rackman.
was in the band. I was in the band, getting to tour and do all that shit. And Ricky was holding down the fort, keeping it going. It was, we both
Yeah,
created it, but he was the one that fucking really fucking worked his ass off to keep it rocking and keep it cool. So him and Joseph
yeah.
both Brooks. So, but
Right.
it was our creation, and it was our baby. And I'm glad it helped you with Frankie too. Frankie's
It's sure.
helped my shit out too. We had our old drummer end up in the clink in Omaha, and Frankie flew out the next day to help us finish up the tour. You know what I mean?
I
And we
remember
had
that.
Motley coming, and Frankie's even in the House of Pain video. So,
Right.
but yeah,
That's right.
Frankie was good, mate, because Quiet and Warren. He was like Frankie was on the plane. Mark was in jail and in Omaha. The next night was in Minneapolis. I don't know if we had a day off, because we had a drive day from Omaha up there, and then he flew out and then rehearsed, and then the next night we played with fucking It was our own gig,
Right.
and then we were going to UK and then come back to do Motley.
Man, those were the days.
Well, fucking, we
Yeah.
survived. We lived through them. Not all of us
Somehow,
have.
some way, man, we made it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's actually
Hey,
something I wanted to talk to you about too. Is we somehow we partied our butts off. I know I did it for many years, and then it just kind of stopped working for me. And I know that you had a similar situation, and a little health issues, and we were all, oh my God, I hope he's okay. So you want to tell
hold
me a little
on.
bit about?
I just knocked my guitar over. So, yeah, I had some fucking health issues. I thought I was indestructible, so, and I lived that way for a long time. But I had some heart issue. I had congest. We did a show at the Whiskey. Then we got on a late flight or early late flight because we played the next. Did the Whiskey, went to the airport, flew to New York on a red eye. Got there, then went to Long Island, played a show with us and LA Guns, and then we had a few other shows, and we did a show in what was it? No, we did one. I don't know if it was the next night. We did one in Manhattan, down at the Bowery. Then did one in Delaware. Then I was like in Delaware. I was just like bringing my luggage to my room, and I was like, "Fuck!" I just got super tired. I had one bag on wheels, and I had a merch bag that was mostly empty already. So I was like, and it was weird. And I did the gig. I remember partying and shit too, and then came back to the hotel, and I was like, I went to lay backwards, and I just felt like I was drowning. I was like, "Fuck! What the fuck is that?" I tried to go to bed, tried to go to sleep, and lay down. I felt like I was just drowning, and so I had to sleep sitting up. So we ended up in the hospital, and they're like, we had the M3 festival too. So it's like we drove down to Maryland. And I have a friend of mine that lives there. He's an FBI agent, Joe, and he took me to the hospital in this neighborhood, and they brought me in and said, started running tests, and then it's like, "Are you diabetic?" I'm like, "Nope." And he goes, "You are now." And they go, "We think you had a heart attack," and I go, I didn't feel like I had one. So they just ran all this stuff, and they thought I had heart failure. And then once they ran tests, once I was there, they thought that I had lung cancer and kidney cancer, which was like, okay. Lung cancer, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised. I've been smoking for 37 years. So I'm like, maybe, whatever. I figured it'd get me. That would be the thing that got me. But we got back home. My girlfriend, Kimberly, just found me all the badass doctors and got that shit sorted, and found a really good oncologist, and they ran all these new tests and all this shit, and he was the one that gave me the news, is like, "You do not have cancer." So that was like, that doctor's the coolest doctor on the planet as far as I'm concerned. Anybody that tells you you don't have cancer. So, but I found out too, I was watching some show, and it was like, he was also Farrah Fawcett's oncologist. Like on that show, like I was watching that not too long ago, last year or whatever. It was a special on the 25, or I don't know what it was, 10-year anniversary of her death or something like that. But that oncologist was mine. But yeah, I've been sober for this month will be 4 years. So
Yeah, brother. Man, it's so great to walk that walk with you. And, we burned the candle at both ends, and now to walk this walk with you, it's awesome. And we get to
this
ride
table here,
motorcycles.
this table here was basically like Fort Snort. That was like just booze and fucking cocaine and everything.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of crazy shit's gone down in this room here. Just this recording, tracking. The whole Power and the Glory Hole record was just nuts. But it's like, what I thought I'd never quit is smoking.
Right.
Booze, drugs, and all that. It's just I wasn't really an addict. I drank when I worked. You know, it was like when I got home off the road. But maybe not so much the earlier days, but later it was like I get home from tour and I didn't even want to see booze. I'm like, ugh. Not like Danny cracking his Budweiser in the morning, but
All right.
But and drugs, we just partied. I'd party when I just was working or whatever. I wasn't like jonesing for any drugs. I wasn't that. But smoking, I fucking had dictated where I went, where I stayed, everything.
Yeah.
When
Remember
restaurants and bars. Oh, I know. I loved it because it was always like as soon as that ding, I knew we were good to go. Just in terms of the plane's actually not going to crash. As soon as that cigarette light came up, it was my because at first I used to be scared of flying at the beginning. I was like, that light would go ding. I'd be
yeah.
I changed smoke forever. And I was like, I thought I'd never quit that, but I did. I fucking 4 years at the end of this month. I'll be
congratulations,
non-smoke,
man.
Non-drugs, non-drink.
You look great, man, and I'm so happy that you did that, and I know everybody else is, all your fans. And listen, we're going to do something that we do called the Full Throttle Rapid Fire 5, and it's 5 questions. And the first one is, who's been the most influential to you in your life?
In my life? Oh, my God. I honestly, the most influential has been it was my dad early, but I don't have someone that was carried me influential all the way through. You know what I mean? So I don't really have that. So it's like when I was younger, it was my dad, and then it was not my dad. Then it was my mom. My parents probably be the most influential.
That's cool
because they were very supportive. You know what I mean? They're in terms of what I wanted to do. Most people don't. Some wants to be a rock star in rock and roll. They're like, no, you don't. So,
all right, number 2. What does Tamie listen to when he's chilling? You know, what are some of your favorite bands and music that you listen to when you're chilling?
Cheap Trick, AC/DC. I'll listen to Sam Cooke. I got a wide variety. CCR is probably one of my favorites. I just love Fogerty's voice and his guitar.
Me too, bro. Me too. All right, if you could have a billboard, not my question, by the way, one of the producers, you could have a billboard that said anything on it that, was yours, what would it say?
A billboard that said, that was me. Tamie was here and kicked some ass.
Fucking A, man. That's perfect. Let's see. If you want to be remembered for one thing when we're all dead and gone, what is it?
Is that I wrote some cool songs. That was the main thing. Is I left a mark. I left something behind for somebody else to enjoy. That's what I try to do with my music. So it's like I don't write it for anybody, but I hope they appreciate it. You know what I mean? So
and you know what? Those songs will live on far past when we're dead and gone. Those songs will still be there, and people will be enjoying them. You've written some great ones, brother. All right, another producer question: who's the most famous person in your phone?
Most Sean McNabb.
Oh shit! Great answer. Rebook that guest. I'm kidding. No, seriously. Who's the most famous person in your phone, brother?
Polly Perrette. She's from NCIS.
Oh, yeah. I love her, man.
She's one of my best. She's like my sister. She lives across the street.
Isn't she your neighbor too?
Yeah, she lives right across the street. She's like, she's like my sister. So she's honestly the most famous person that I know because that show is fucking huge.
And they're still going. Are they on their 17th season or something, right?
She's not on it, no. She left, but she left last year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, she left last year to do a sitcom that didn't go so well, but it was fun.
Right.
But she's still cool. I just saw her yesterday, so she's awesome.
Yeah.
I just always
She
forget
sure-
that she's famous. You know what I mean?
Right?
She's just Polly. She's my sis.
Yeah, man, and she's cool. You know, I've met her a few
She's
times and done
super cool.
charity with her, and she's just always down to earth. And like you said, there's no famous vibe there. She's just real and cool. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
kind of like you, brother, man.
Thanks, baby.
Well, bro, we got this motorcycle thing in common too, and we'll wrap it up with this. You know, it's something that I know you're passionate about, and I know you've ridden all over the country on your bike. And you and I just went riding Saturday with our group that we call the Hollywood Riders, which is Gilby,
Yeah.
and Aldridge, yourself, some other cats,
Yeah.
Stu Herrera.
Exactly.
You know,
Stewie.
tell me about your passion for the being on two wheels.
Oh, I just love it. I just fucking. It was a life changer for me before, because I was going through a really bad, even before I got sober, even when I was still drinking and whatnot. But I got just in a real bad funk. I lost a couple people, Bianca and my old partner JD. They both died within a year, and then I just kind of spiraled off, doing way too much drugs and drinking, and got way overweight and just didn't really care. And my motorcycle, basically, in 2010, I got that. Right before that, I just made it a pact to just do something. And I just got, because I used to ride when I was a kid, and I just kind of quit because I lost a friend. So I just got into my motorcycle, and it's basically saved my life. So it's like, just the whole headset, just riding around the country. You're a motorcycle guy through and through. So it's like, just being able to get out, it just changed my life. I wanted every trip I did, I started doing with Ricky and stuff too. They kept getting longer. I was just like, I want to do it longer. That last big one I did before I got sick was 12,800 miles in one trip.
I remember it was huge.
That was a pretty good. I rode all over. It was fun. It was just like, I loved that, being able to go on, and I do solo most of it, and just being in a band and touring over all these years. You got friends everywhere. So I remember, okay, I'm going to stop in St. Louis. I'm going to see my buddy fucking Barclay and hang out at his house where his parents' house where they raised Clydesdales. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got a horseshoe in my living room. From there, I got my souvenirs, and I got, then I'd stay at my friend Sabrina's in Tampa, and just stay at their house for her and Justin's place, or just all that, just a little pinpoints. Okay, where am I going to go to next? I didn't plan anything completely on those trips. It was just kind of like, okay, where am I going next? I knew the direction. And there's, even with Ricky and stuff too, we get to where we're going, we chill, unpack our stuff, then we get something to eat. We go, where do you think we're going to go to tomorrow?
Yeah.
And if there's something when we plan, it's oh my God, it's just.
I always say this.
It's like,
I always say, man, if you ride, you get it. If you don't ride, you probably will never get it. And it's such a therapeutic thing. Just be out there on two wheels, and it's great to be able to do that together. Man, I could talk to you for hours, Tamie, but what I want to ask, the final thing is I know you guys are working on a new record, and you guys got the coolest fucking merch ever. So let us know where we can find the merch. You've always had the coolest merch, and let us know about the new record, where we can get all that, and your tour.
Cool.
What's going on?
Right on. Well, what we're doing right now is we're working on a series of singles. We're doing 7-inch vinyl singles, and we're waiting for a test pressing right now for the first one. It's called Nola, and the B-sides cover we did of the Heartbreakers, Pirate Love, Johnny Thunder and the Heartbreakers, and those turned out killer. They're done. We're just waiting for we've gotten 2 test pressings so far that skipped. So we're just waiting on the third, hopefully it's three's a charm or three strikes and you're fucking out. So we got the we got the next 2 tracks after that one ready to go. Gilby's gonna mix them. Gilby mixed the first ones too, so it's all in family.
Yeah.
And we're putting it out on our own label. Kind of, it's just through Faster Pussycat, our business, but it's Little Dove Records for for these vinyls. But it will be digital too. They'll be out available. But we're waiting on a test pressing before we can set a release date. And so we're doing a series of those. We're just going to keep putting them out. And then when we come up with, when there's like 4 or 5 of them, then we'll put a whole, we'll either do a couple different things, maybe a box of the 7 inches and do a full vinyl record and whatnot. Maybe even a retro CD. You know.
Wow.
CDs
Cool.
are fucking retro now. So it's like, who knows? But dude, that's what we're working on right now. We're just getting all that stuff done. And
where can people find your merch?
Just fasterpussycat.com was a merch section on there. And we're getting ready to go out on the road. Well, we were supposed to do this last year, but we're going out the end of June through first week August. I think it's 7 weeks of with us and Enough's Enough.
Great.
And so unless it gets moved again till fucking the fall, which did last year, it moved from the beginning of September to Halloween. So if for some reason, because for this tour to work, everything has got to be reopened. You know what I mean? So, and all the guarantees still have to be the same. So we can't have 5 days off when you're out on the bus. Just makes it unaffordable. And it's not like we're being prima donnas. Our bus is our house. We don't have to worry about the club having a shitty dressing room. I'm sober. I don't need to be around. I can't be hanging out inside a bar and stuff.
Right.
Just to keep my shit together. And it's like we bring our merch cage and all of our shit. So we need to make sure we have all of our stuff with us and can't do it in a van. So. Yeah.
Cool, brother. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on Minutes with McNabb today. And
anytime, brother, anytime.
I might have you back, man, if you'll do it. But I thanks for doing me this solid, man. You're the best. And like I said, we'll cut in some video clips and pictures and all that stuff to your socials.
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
We'll do all that. But
cool. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're doing this, brother. This is fucking cool shit. I like it.
Well, it wouldn't happen without Joe. Wouldn't happen without Joe and Angelo, my producers. And thanks for doing this, everybody. Taime Downe's Faster Pussycat.